Good morning, everyone. This is the Bible reading for section 6, lesson 1. Today we're reading Leviticus 22 through 24 and Psalm 31. So Leviticus 22. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell Aaron and his sons to be careful with the holy things, offerings, gift, which the children of Israel dedicate to me, so that they do not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, any one of your descendants throughout your generations who approaches the holy things which the Israelites dedicate to the Lord while he is ceremonially unclean, that person shall be cut off from my presence and excluded from the sanctuary. I am the Lord. No man of the descendants of Aaron who is a leper or has a discharge may eat the holy things, the offerings, and the showbread until he is clean. And whoever touches any person or thing made unclean by contact with a corpse, or a man who has had a seminal emission, or whoever touches any crawling thing by which he is made unclean, or any person by whom he is made unclean, whatever it may be. The person who touches any such thing shall be unclean until evening, and shall not eat the holy things unless he has bathed his body in water. When the sun sets, he will be clean, and afterward he may eat the holy things, for it is his food. He shall not eat that which dies of natural causes, or is torn by a predator, becoming unclean by it. I am the Lord. Therefore the priest shall observe my ordinances, so that they will not bear sin because of it and die if they profane it. I am the Lord who sanctifies them. No layman, that is, someone outside of Aaron's family, is to eat of the holy gift which has been offered to God. A foreigner residing with the priest or a hired man shall not eat the holy thing. But if a priest buys a slave as his property with his money, the slave may eat the holy thing. And those who are born in the priest's house, they may eat his food. If a priest's daughter is married to a layman, one not part of the priestly tribe, she shall not eat the offering of the holy things. But if the priest's daughter is a widow or divorced and has no child, and returns to her father's house as in her youth, she shall eat her father's food, but no layman shall eat it. But if a person unknowingly eats a holy gift which has been offered to God, then he shall add 1/5 of its value to it and give the holy gift to the priest. The priest shall not profane the holy things the Israelites offer to the Lord, and so cause them by neglect of any essential observance to bear the punishment of guilt when they eat their holy things, for I am the Lord who sanctifies them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, and to all the Israelites, and say to them, any man of the house of Israel, or any stranger in Israel who presents his offering, whether to fulfill any of their vows, or as any of their free will voluntary offerings, which they presented to the Lord as a burnt offering, so that you may be accepted, it must be a male without blemish from the cattle, the sheep, or the goats. You shall not offer anything which has a blemish, because it will not be accepted for you. Whoever offers a sacrifice of peace offerings to the Lord to fulfill a special vow to the Lord, or as a freewill offering from the herd or from the flock, it must be perfect to be accepted. There shall be no blemish in it. Animals that are blind or fractured or mutilated, or have a sore or running wound, or an itch or scabs, you shall not offer to the Lord, nor make an offering for them by fire in the altar to the Lord. For a freewill offering you may offer either a bull or a lamb which has overgrown or stunted member deformity. But for the payment of a vow it will not be accepted. You shall not offer to the Lord any animal which has its testicles bruised or crushed or torn or cut off, or sacrifice it in your land. Nor shall you offer as food of your God any such animals obtained from a foreigner, because their corruption and blemish makes them unfit. There is a defect in them, and they shall not be accepted for you. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when a bull or sheep or a goat is born, it shall remain for 7 days with its mother, and after the 8th day it shall be accepted as an offering by fire to the Lord. And whether the mother is a cow or a sheep, you shall not kill both it and its young in 1 day. When you sacrifice an offering of thanksgiving to the Lord, you shall sacrifice it so that you may be accepted. It shall be eaten on the same day. You shall leave none of it until the next morning. I am the Lord. So you shall keep my commandments and do them. I am the Lord. You shall not profane my holy name, using it to honor an idol, or treating it with irreverence or contempt as a byword. But I will be sanctified, set apart as holy among the Israelites. I am the Lord who sanctifies and declares you holy, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. The Lord spoke to Moses again, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, The appointed times, established feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim as holy convocations, my appointed times are these. For 6 days work may be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of complete rest, a holy convocation calling together. You shall not do any work on that day. It is the Sabbath of the Lord wherever you may be. These are the appointed times of the Lord, holy convocations, which you shall proclaim at their appointed times. The Lord's Passover is on the 14th day of the first month at twilight. The Feast of Unleavened Bread to the Lord is on the 15th day of the same month. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall have a holy convocation calling together. You shall not do any laborious work on that day, but you shall present an offering by fire to the Lord for 7 days. On the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall not do any laborious work on that day. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, When you enter the land which I am giving you, and reap its harvest, you shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. You shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, so that you may be accepted. The priest shall wave it on the day after the Sabbath. Now on the day when you have waved the sheaf, you shall offer a male lamb, 1 year old, without blemish, as a burnt offering to the Lord. Its grain offering shall be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with olive oil, and an offering by fire to the Lord for a sweet and soothing aroma, with its drink offering to be poured out, 1/4 hin of wine. You shall not eat any bread or roast grain or new growth until this same day when you bring in the offering to your God. It is a permanent statute throughout your generations, wherever you may be. You shall count from the day after the Sabbath, from the day when you brought in the sheaf tied bundle of grain of the wave offering. There shall be 7 complete Sabbaths, 7 full weeks. You shall count 50 days to the day after the 7th Sabbath. Then you shall present a new grain offering to the Lord. You shall bring it in from your places 2 loaves of bread as a wave offering, made from 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven as firstfruits to the Lord. And you shall offer with the bread 7 unblemished lambs, 1 year old, and 1 young bull, and 2 rams. They are to be burnt offering to the Lord, with their grain offering and their drink offerings. It is an offering by fire, a sweet and soothing aroma to the Lord. And you shall sacrifice 1 male goat as a sin offering, and 2 male lambs, 1 year old, as a sacrifice of peace offerings. The priest shall wave them before the Lord as a wave offering, together with the bread of the firstfruits and the 2 lambs. They are to be holy to the Lord for the priest. On the same day you shall make a proclamation. You are to have a holy convocation calling together. You shall not do any laborious work on that day. It is to be a permanent statute throughout your generations, wherever you may be. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the edges of your field, nor gather the gleaning of your harvest. You are to leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am the Lord your God. Again the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the children of Israel, on the first day of the 7th month, almost October, you shall observe a day of solemn sabbatical rest, a memorial day announced by the blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. You shall not do any laborious work on that day, but you shall present an offering by fire to the Lord. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Also the 10th day of the 7th month is the day of atonement. It shall be holy convocation for you, and you shall humble yourselves by fasting, and present an offering by fire to the Lord. You shall not do any work on this same day, for it is the day of atonement, to make atonement on your behalf before the Lord your God. If there is any person who will not humble himself on this same day, he shall be cut off from his people, excluding him from the atonement made for them. If there is any person who does any work on the same day, I will destroy that person from among his people. You shall not do work at all on that day. It is a permanent statute throughout your generations, wherever you may be. It is to be to you a Sabbath of complete rest, and you shall humble yourselves. On the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you shall keep your Sabbath. Again the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the children of Israel, on the 15th day of this 7th month, and for 7 days is the Feast of Booths, tabernacles, to the Lord. The first day is a holy convocation, calling together. You shall not do any laborious work on that day. For 7 days you shall present an offering by fire to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall have a holy convocation, and present an offering by fire to the Lord. It is a festive assembly. You shall not do any laborious work on that day. These are the appointed times, established feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to present an offering by fire to the Lord. a burnt offering and a grain offering, sacrifices, and drink offering, each on its own day. This in addition to the weekly Sabbaths of the Lord, and in addition to your gifts and all your vowed offerings and all your freewill offerings which you give to the Lord. On exactly the 15th day of the 7th month, nearly October, when you have gathered all the crops in the land, you shall celebrate the feast of the Lord for 7 days, with a Sabbath rest on the first day and a Sabbath rest on the 8th day. Now on the first day you shall take for yourselves the foliage of beautiful trees, branches of palm trees, and boughs of thick leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and make booths of them. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You shall celebrate it as a feast to the Lord for 7 days in the year. It shall be a permanent statute throughout your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall live in booths, temporary shelters, for 7 days. All native born in Israel shall live in booths, so that your generations may know that I had the sons of Israel live in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses declared to the Israelites the appointed feasts of the Lord. Leviticus 24. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel to bring to you clear oil from beaten olives for the light of the golden lampstands, to make the lamp burn continually, outside the veil of testimony, between the holy place and the most holy place, in the tent of meeting. Aaron shall always keep the lamps burning before the Lord from evening until morning. It shall be a permanent statute throughout your generations. He shall keep the lamps burning on the pure gold lampstand before the Lord continually. Then you shall take fine flour and bake 12 cakes, bread of the presence, showbread with it. 2/10 of an ephah shall be in each cake loaf. You shall set the bread of the presence, showbread, in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on the pure gold table before the Lord. You shall put pure frankincense in 2 censers, one beside each row, so that it may be with the bread as a memorial portion, an offering by fire to the Lord. Every Sabbath day Aaron shall arrange the showbread before the Lord continually. It is an everlasting covenant for the Israelites. The bread of the presence shall be for Aaron and his sons. They shall eat it in a sacred place, for it is for Aaron a most holy portion of the offering by fire to the Lord, his portion forever. Now the son of an Israelite woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the Israelites, and he and a man of Israel quarreled and struggled with each other in the camp. The Israelite woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. So they brought him to Moses. Now his mother's name was Shilomith, the daughter of Dibri, in the tribe of Dan. They put him in custody until the will and command of the Lord might be made clear to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Bring the one who has cursed the Lord outside the camp, and let all who heard him lay their hands on his head as a witness to his guilt. Then let all the congregation stone him. You shall speak to the Israelites, saying, Whoever curses his God will bear his sin through his own death. Further, the one who blasphemes the name of the Lord shall most certainly be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him. A stranger, as well as the native born, shall be put to death when he blasphemes the name of the Lord. If a man takes the life of any human being unlawfully, he shall most certainly be put to death. The one who kills an animal shall replace it, animal for animal. If a man injures his neighbor, fellow citizen, whatever he has done shall be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Just as he has injured a man, so shall be the same done to him. The one who kills an animal shall replace it, but he who kills a human being unlawfully shall be put to death. You shall have one standard of law for the stranger among you as well for the native, for I am the Lord your God. Then Moses spoke to the Israelites, and they brought the one who had cursed the Lord outside the camp and stoned him with stones. Thus the Israelites did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Psalm 31. In you, O Lord, I have placed my trust and taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. In your righteousness rescue me. Incline your ear to me. Deliver me quickly. Be my rock and refuge, my rock of refuge, and a strong fortress to save me. Yes, you are my rock and my fortress. For your name's sake you will lead me and guide me. You will draw me out of the net that they have secretly laid for me. For you are my strength and my stronghold. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, the God of my truth and faithfulness. I hate those who pay regard to vain, empty, worthless idols, but I trust in the Lord and rely on him with unwavering confidence. I will rejoice and be glad in your steadfast love, because you have seen my affliction. You have taken note of my life's distresses, and you have not given me into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a broad place. Be gracious and compassionate to me, O Lord, for I am in trouble. My eye is clouded and weakened by grief, my soul and my body also. For my life is spent with sorrow, and my years with sighing. My strength has failed because of my iniquity, and even my body has wasted away because of all my enemies. I have become a reproach and a disgrace, especially to my neighbors, and an object of dread to my acquaintances. Those who see me on the street run from me. I am forgotten like a dead man out of mind. I am like a broken vessel. For I have heard the slander and whispering of many. Terror is on every side. While they schemed together against me, they plotted to take away my life. But as for me, I trust confidently in you and your greatness, O Lord. I said, You are my God. My times are in your hands. Rescue me from the hand of my enemies and from those who pursue and persecute me. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your loving kindness. Let me not be put to shame, O Lord, for I call on you. Let the wicked, godless, be put to shame. Let them be silent in Sheol, the netherworld, the place of the dead. Let the lying lips be mute, which speak insolent and arrogantly against the consistently righteous, with pride and contempt. How great is your goodness, which you have stored up for those who reverently fear you, which you have prepared for those who take refuge in you, before the sons of man. In the secret place of your presence you hide them from the plots and conspiracies of man. You keep them secretly in a shelter pavilion from the strife of tongues. Blessed be the Lord, for he has shown his marvelous favor and loving kindness to me when I was assailed in the besieged city. As for me, I said in my alarm, I am cut off from your eyes. Nevertheless, you heard my voice of supplications, specific requests, when I cried to you for help. O love the Lord, all you his godly ones. The Lord preserves the faithful, those with moral and spiritual integrity, and fully repays the self-righteous of the arrogant. Be strong and let your hearts take courage, all you who wait for and confidently expect the Lord.